Here with R&B Promotions CEO Alex Barbosa. What's good, Alex?
Good morning, bro. How are you?
Oh man, I'm good. Good morning to you. All right, big card, June 22nd in the house that Paul Heyman built, 2300 Arena. You got the Nigerian Nightmare versus Leonardo. Pronounce his last name for me.
Di Stefano.
Leonardo Di Stefano.
Yeah.
Right, 13-3 versus 15-0. Step up for both. What's your thoughts on that main event?
Um, it 100% is a step up for both, but I mean, respectively, at both of their respective careers, they have to be fighting these kinds of guys. Otherwise, they're not necessarily preparing themselves for what's next. Both men aspire to be world champions, and both men aspire to be fighting at the highest level. And these are the kinds of fights that you need. You need to get in there with someone who is legitimately there to win. They're not. Neither of them is coming in thinking that they're just there for a check. They're both looking for, to win and to keep progressing their career. So I mean, it's a tough fight for both of them, and the fact that it's not on TV is crazy to me.
For me, it should be for like a little small title.
Yeah, but to be fair, in my humble opinion, I don't necessarily believe putting a random 3-letter belt title belt on there is going to do anything for either of them. I think it's about building your resume. So I do understand that, and I could have probably got like the XYZ title if I wanted to, but like, like I would want it to make sense for both of these guys. And and I think just having this name, whether it's Di Stefano upsets Femi or Femi continues on his path and beats Di Stefano, having this name on your resume is going to produce results for both of them, honestly.
Junior middleweight division is definitely hot. And now you got Olufemi, who's looked at as one of the best prospects coming out of the area, if not the whole East Coast. Right? What does he have to prove June 22nd?
I mean, it's statement time. I believe that he has to go in there and make Di Stefano seem just like the other guys that he's boxed. He has to make him seem exactly, regardless of what his record is, whether he was 13-3 or 17-0, he has to go in there and dispatch with him. When you're trying to make waves in boxing, the best way to do it is just perform. And you show up, you perform. I mean, Femi has the 3 fights that he's been with us. I mean, he's handled his job. He's done his job every time. 3 fights, three TKO wins. Him and his team over at Pivot with Sharon and Lando, they're doing a phenomenal job with him. And I believe that I have the next 154-pound champ. Like I believe that he resides with us, and you're gonna see it next week. You're gonna see it. Hopefully, you come out and you see exactly what I've seen, and that is special. I want to say kid, but he's not a kid. He's 29. He's hitting that prime time right now. We've put the pieces of the puzzle together, and hopefully he handles business, and then it's on to bigger and better, always.
In an era where a lot of guys are taking soft touches, right? What does it mean to you to put on a main event that that's going to have long-term ramifications going forward?
I think it's really it's the brand that we're building. It's the R&B way. We don't kind of taking a page from the old school Philadelphia Peltzian methodology, if you will, where you got a couple of, hey, let's learn, but like you can't fight guys who aren't doing anything for you forever. You need tests. Every fighter needs to have tests, and there's a way to do it. I mean, people have been doing it for a long time. I think with a lot of I feel like in just a lot of markets in general, everybody can now jump right in and feel like they're an expert. Like I'm seeing a whole bunch of new promoters and a whole bunch of just new bodies, and it's great for boxing. I love it. I personally love as many people involved with boxing as possible. Conversely, there's a way to build a fighter, and true people that have been involved with the game know how to do it, and people that haven't been, they're I don't know, they're led astray sometimes.
Mm.
Things don't always work out. There's a way to do it. I model what we do, through the lessons that I've learned from fighting and being involved with the game and just watching and observing and learning, and I've been doing this for like over 2 decades now. I'm 40. That's half my life. I've been involved with boxing in some way, shape, or form, if not before then. So, the way that we do things with R&B is, we're trying to prepare fighters. It's really not about the wins and losses, to be honest with you, because nowadays, there was one Floyd Mayweather. Okay, cool, and I get it. Everybody's gonna try to emulate that path and think that undefeated is the way to go. It's about preparing yourself for that opportunity. A guy like Salido wasn't really given much of a chance, but made himself a bit of a star, made himself some money.
Facts.
Being
Facts.
prepared for that right opportunity when he was there to be an opponent. So, I think fighters fighters that are tested the right way and brought up the right way, like whether they win or lose, they're gonna get that opportunity. So as long as they want to do it, so as long as they actually want to do it, and my job as a promoter is to prepare the guys that I work with for that next step, so that when they get there, when they get to that big TV fight against another undefeated prospect, a top ranked guy, a golden boy guy that's been carried, not only do they look the part, but they they show that they've been ready, that they're prepared for it, not get shell shocked by the moment. Like you see
Not only,
sometimes with other guys that
yo,
step up and go fight, and it's like, wow, what happened?
all the time, guys with super blown up records. It's kind of like a house of cards.
Yeah, I see it more now in boxing than I've ever seen it. As I'm going through, like, cause I do the matchmaking, I do the, I like to be hands on. That way, I can really learn how to promote, how the inner workings of the promotion business are, and I see it a lot. Guys, American fighters are like, I think Colombia is the new hotbed. We're gonna go to Colombia and go fight 7 times in like 3 weeks. Like, who are you fighting? Like, what do you do? Okay, so now effectively, like, for those people, what they've effectively done is they've made themselves 7-0 with 7 knockouts. Cool, I get it. And then you're gonna fight a guy. You're gonna come up here and fight a guy who's 4-4, and he beats you. Like, what's that? What's that do? What's that doing for anybody? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. Or they build up their record to 7-8-0, and then you fight another 8-0 here. They pay you
Mm.
a bit of a bag, and you get stopped in the first round because you don't fucking belong. Oh, excuse my language. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's cool. I want you to be as authentic as possible. All right.
I That's all I can be, man. I stand on how I am, and that's I just honest, forward, just honest. I've been doing this for a minute, so and I see some things. I've most certainly seen some things. Boxing is very interesting. I love it though. I wouldn't have it any other way. But no, I mean, look, back to, I know I can veer off subject often. Back to the subject at hand. The way that we want to build is, give fighters the opportunity, but more importantly, test them accordingly. You know.
Now, if I go to look back at this card, right,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
5 years from now, it seems to me I'm going to be like, oh shit, yo, I didn't know that kid fought on that card. That kid fought on the card. You have really, really talented up and comers, Juan Marrero, Namal Farmer, Joshua Jones. It's like it's a lot of talented kids. Like, is that what you want to do? Give a good main event and then litter it with prospects that are looking, to just take that next step.
I think it's super important that you're constantly providing a platform for the next generation. You're constantly building for what's next. Like, Josh Jones is one of the guys that we have really high hopes on. I mean, I believe it's gonna go. Femi's gonna take us to the world title first. Josh Jones is gonna follow it right up, and then Juan Marrero is gonna take us all the way home. Like, you know, I believe that we have a special group of fighters that are working with us, that we're working with, and we're building. And by building, we're taking the necessary steps to make them better fighters. I mean, on the card alone, like like we have Richard Johnson, who I'm really high on, from ABC. He's not ducking anybody. He's fighting a 1-0, a guy who also, you know, made his pro debut, won by knock. Edwin Sharif from Ecuador, I believe, and he won here. Like, so there's no desire to avoid that action. I talked to his coach, Fred Jenkins Jr., and he wanted to smoke. I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. You know, I have Gandhi Romain, who I genuinely like. I have him in a tough fight against Jeremiah Kendrick. Jeremiah Kendrick's not gonna lay down. He's a tough Philly guy. You know, he's there. He's there for the fight. You know, Marrero and Garcia, I believe, is gonna steal the show. You got two undefeated fighters that are going in there to make statements. You know, Miguel Garcia has fought for me. He's from Atlantic City. Juan Marrero, he's fought for me. He's from Philly, and that's gonna be the one. You make sure you circle that fight, because that's gonna be the one that I think people are gonna. You know, that one, the main event. I just I wanna build. I want us to build cards that are fan friendly, that make it worth the $65 to get in. You know, because these events they're not cheap to do. They're not, you know, it's not like I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I don't have the Saudi Riyadh
You know, the
season
Saudi, the turkey a la shiki bread. Yeah.
You know, no, we're not at that Turkey. What is it? The guy's name is Turkey.
Turkey a la shiki. Yeah.
That's right, man. What they're doing for boxing is crazy. It's great. I wish the time zone difference wasn't so wild. It's hard to want to watch boxing at like 4 o'clock on a fucking Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
damn, bro. Like,
Yeah. And then the cards are loaded, so by the time you get finished, it's dinner time.
so I'm excited for the next one. The Crawford card that they're doing in LA.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be a big hit. You know, I think that they're heading in the right path. I mean, eventually boxing needs some semblance of uniformity. Like the fact that you've got all these individualized individual entities kind of just running around doing things is wild to me. And the fact that it's been able to be this way for so long is even more crazy. Happy birthday, brother. I'm sorry, I'm still at the club.
That's cool. Yo, now you've done everything in boxing, Alex.
Yeah.
You've done everything. You've matchmake. Well, let's start off. Boxer, right? Ring announcer, matchmaker, promoter. Is that how you saw it when you started out, or just things just matriculated?
The announcer thing that was an accident. That was George Hansen. Shout out, mouthpiece. Gave me he said I should do it, and I did it. Actually, and that's my first show. I think it was Cool Breeze Promotions, which ended up becoming Hard Hitting Promotions, or something of that semblance, something like that. So, no, it wasn't really part of the plan. But once I started doing it, I realized that I was going to be. Like, I realized early, like this is fun to me. Like boxing is something that I'm genuinely passionate about. Just being involved and learning more and more. I'm like, you know what, this is really like, this is where my heart is, where my head is. Like, I don't really work. I'm always happy. Like, this is it for me. I love what I do. I love, obviously, owning a gym, but being a promoter, being a matchmaker. Today I'm going up to Atlantic City to go announce the weigh-ins for the Danny Garcia show that's happening tomorrow in Atlantic City. So I try to keep myself involved and in the mix always. You know, was it part of the plan? Nah, but once I started, I realized that I need to hold all the positions. I kind of learned it from the way that I operated here at TKO Fitness. Before that, it was LA Boxing. Before that, it was UFC Gym, and I held all the positions. Like I was the assistant manager, the manager, the fucking kickboxing coach, the lead sales guy, the janitor. Like, you have to hold all the positions in order to truly understand how it operates. And I felt like the same thing with boxing. Like for me, it was, let me learn it all, as much of it as I can. I haven't been a judge, I haven't been a referee, but like, this is some of the stuff that I wanted to learn, and now I'm applying everything that I've been learning for the last, I don't know, this is show number eight or nine, and I keep telling people, we're like, hi guys, we're not going anywhere. R&B Promotions is here to stay. We're gonna be here. We're not going anywhere. Hi guys.
All right, so fighter, promoter.
Yeah.
Often fighters criticize promoters. Often promoters criticize fighters.
Uh-huh.
After wearing both hats, do you understand both more?
I think when you're in the moment, you're gonna understand what you're doing. So like a fighter's gonna understand the fighter's perspective while they're fighting. And the moment you're not fighting, then you'll understand the actual business side of it. Like in the dialogues that I have with fighters, I understand that they don't understand the next, like there's one train of thought, and that, as it should be. And I say this to our fighters, like your job is to train. Your job is to fight and train. Like you're not really supposed to be, worrying about the opponents or the lineups or all kinds of other stuff. Like your job is to fight and train. Like you need to train, focus, throw all of your energy in that. Fighters, I see it more so now than I've ever seen it, is that fighters are trying to be the one-stop shop. A fighter wants to be their own promoter and their own matchmaker, their own trainer, their own everything. I'm like, okay, well, good luck. Like that's tough. Like you can't really do it. And that's why I tell fighters that you need to make sure that you surround yourself with a solid team, because without a team, like you can only go but so far. Like, yes, the fighter is the quote unquote boss. Okay. But without the team, there's only but so much that the fighter can do by themselves, because I know, like, okay, I know firsthand that like a promoter is going to talk differently to a fighter than they are to another promoter or a manager. Like it's just different. Like you just have a different, I don't know, you have in different positions on the chessboard, if you will. And the fighters, to make an honest analogy, even though the fighters are the most important, they truly are the pawns in the game of chess. All right. Now certain pawns can become the king by making it all the way to the end of the board, a la Mayweather, a la right now Canelo, like the Crawfords. Like they get to that level, but for the most part, you have to be protected and shielded and navigated through. That's what the other pieces of the puzzle do, and that's what the other pieces in boxing are. Like the promoter, the matchmaker, the managers, the handler, the trainers. Like they're the other pieces of the chessboard. So I mean, it's not. They're both different in their own rights. Promoting is exponentially harder than fighting. It's not even close. Even though the physical ramifications are serious with regard to boxing, I never want to minimize it. Promoting it's not even close. Putting the entire events together is way harder. And I love all the fighters. Love them all.
June 22nd.
Talk to me.
As fans, what can we expect?
From top to bottom, competitive fights. I had a show in Atlantic City, and that's what I'll say about that, where three of the fights were just, for lack of a better term, they were just really bad. Like really bad. Like not even, like, I've seen amateur fights between 8-year-olds that was better than some of those pro fights that I saw. And on that night, I realized I made a promise to myself, as well as the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board, that I would never, ever, 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 ever allow myself to be duped into, having a boxing fight with people who don't know how to fight. So I've made it my business since that moment to ensure that, it's competitive fights. I don't really, you're not going to be able to walk in and be like, oh, the red corner is going to win all night. Nah, you're not going to be able to do that. Like, I pride myself on being able to hey, look, you don't know what's going on, and you know, you're gonna see the better man's gonna win all the time. And I don't necessarily like the traditional A side B side talk. I'm not a big fan of the home corner, the away corner, all that other shit. At the end of the day, it's this guy versus that guy, and whoever wants it more is gonna win. And I'm trying to convey that kind of a message to fighters, to the people, our fans, the people that come. Like, you're not just gonna see one corner kill the other corner all night long, and then it looks like that corner, whether it's blue or red, just doesn't know what the hell is going on. Because that's a slap to the face of the paying consumer. Like, people were like, money is not. It's not free to be at a show. If I was given a free show, then yes, you would see a whole bunch of you'd see all types of nonsense. But it's not free, right? And because it's not free, I have to give you value. And the only way that I give you value is by producing good fights, good competitive fights. Furthermore, as a guy who boxed, like, I would want to know, like, who I am. Like, I don't want to be 15-0 and beat 15 cab drivers, and then I fight a basic 7-7 guy, and I struggle. Like, what the hell is that about? Like, I'd like to know. Look, I loved the fact that 4 fights in, I got to fight at Temple University for my 5th fight on, I want to say it was a Brian Jennings, like, NBC undercard or something at McGonigal Hall for Russell Peltz. And I fought a guy who, okay, if I was any good, respectfully, if I was as good as I thought I was, I should have been able to beat this guy. And I didn't. And that's it. And that taught me something. I was like, oh, well, maybe I'm not the next Hector Camacho. and as hard as that lesson was, like, at the time, it was kind of important to, like, okay, well, stop. Let me scale this accordingly. I proceeded to immediately fight within 6 weeks, and I got a draw or something against a guy I should have beat. It's just, boxing can be very, very real with you. And what I do for these fighters is I get them matchups that, allow them to either level up and continue progressing, or identify, oh shit, maybe just maybe, because I don't know. I think time is very important, and nobody should be wasting their time. I try not to waste my time, but furthermore, like, bro, you can get hurt for real doing this, like, for real. And if you think you're something, you're not. And I get you a reasonable test, and you don't perform. I mean, you got to evaluate it, because it's not me. I'm like, I don't fight for these people. I don't get in the ring no more. Like, I have 6-3-1. I'm done. There's no more fights. Maybe a celebrity fight. Maybe a celebrity, Damon Feldman. Maybe I'll go be the, like, middleweight champion or some shit. I can't be the banner.
Last question, Alex.
Talk to me.
Is that what separates you from other promoters? That you know what those shoes feel like?
I think it's important. I think a guy like Thomas LaMotta, shout out to Cornflake, congratulations again on winning the WBA gold middleweight title. I think Thomas LaMotta understands it differently. I think when you do this a little bit, and then you do that side of the fence, and you're covered, like, you just have a slightly different appreciation. A lot of guys are like I said, there's a lot of business people that try to get involved, because boxing is highly unregulated. Like, you're dealing with a commission, and every respective commission is different. So, like, there's no federal rules. There's a lot of, I can get away with a whole bunch of sideways shitty things. So it's gonna attract all kinds of people that may or may not necessarily know how to do this, and I tell the fighters, especially fighters that, like, in the area, like, just know who you're dealing with, and, like, know what you're signing. All right, like, know exactly what you're agreeing to, because one thing I can tell you is, in America, these contracts are real. All right, and when you sign a contract, like, you got to honor that contract. What's gonna make us different, the R&B promotions brand different? Well, I mean, it always starts at the head, and so I'm here and I understand things, and you know, it's gonna be we're gonna be a little bit more fighter friendly, a little bit more fighter centric. I try to educate the guys and make sure that they're understanding, because a lot of like a common misconception, especially with guys who are quote unquote ticket sellers, is that, well, I covered my fight type thing. I'm like, all right, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Let's say the fight was $5,000, okay, and you come back and sell $5,000 in tickets. Well, that's cool and all, but like, you may have covered your part of the expense, but like the total event costs $25,000-$30,000. And from that 5 racks, right? The opponent has to be paid, the fighter has to be paid because nobody's fighting for free.
Mm.
Then there's other miscellaneous things, like obviously the commission has to always be paid and so on and so forth. And then some of that will go towards the event expenses, because if not, you're just swallowing a big ass invoice at the end of it all. You know, learning how to put these events together, learning how to do it all is part of the magic. That's part of the fun, if you will, for me right now. Like, I'm just still getting my reps, bro. I've had more learning experience doing this than I did amateur fights. I had 4 of them.
Oh shit!
I mean, I was old when I started boxing, bro. I was old already, so I had to
I
take years.
I know that.
Months. You know, the R&B brand is going to be one that's, like I said, it's going to be fighter friendly. It's also going to be fan friendly because of the kinds of fights that we put on. We're not going to put on just the guy who doesn't know what he's doing versus a fucking 5-time national champ, because nobody wins in that. You know, and we owe it to the fighters, we owe it to the fans, we owe it to ourselves to just put together a solid product that forces everybody to level up. You know, and that's what you're going to see on the 5th. You're going to 100% see guys looking to try to make it to the next level by fighting tough guys that are trying to stop them. Like, everybody on the card is there to win. Nobody's coming in for just a check. I don't care where they're coming in from. And you'll see it. Every single body is there to fight to win. From top to bottom, I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up with like 10 fights. You know, we got I got Sam Arnold coming from Texas. He's 9-0, fighting a 6-2. Noah Norman's returning again. He's fighting a dangerous 8-fight vet. You know, like I said, Gandhi's there. I have Vladimir Dalton from Linden, New Jersey, is fighting 2-2 Tunde Fatiga. So I got a 1-0 versus a 2-2. Like that's a solid test. That's gonna be a good scrap. Like I said, Juan Moreno versus Miguel Garcia, 4-0 versus 3-0. Circle
I
that
like
one.
that.
That's
I like that.
that's solid. And but like, those are the kinds of fights that we want to put on. Like, you know, look, regardless of what happens, I love Juan Moreno. I love Miguel Garcia. I can promise both of them. There's going to be more opportunities, regardless of, like, let's say obviously somebody loses or it's not a draw. That doesn't mean the career is over. It also doesn't mean that doesn't mean I'm gonna ship you to the fucking to New York City to go fight a 15-0 prospect. Like, no, you learn, we develop, we move on, you keep fighting, you know.
Salute the both for taking that risk, though.
For
A lot of
sure.
guys ain't
Look,
taking that risk.
Richard Johnson 1-0, Edwin Sharif 1-0. Like, they're fighting each other. You know, Dante Selby versus Daniel Bean is a very interesting fight. I love heavyweights. Selby's 3-4-2. Daniel Bean is 2-2 with 2 losses to the Wolf. All right, shout out the Wolf. Up in where is he? He's in Massachusetts or some shit like that. Wolf is a funny character. He's a good guy. But that's a good fight for both of these guys. One's coming off obviously 2 losses, who are highly but a serious amateur, you know, pedigree. And then Dante Selby is constantly the man is working hard all the time, and he's constantly in these just good fights. Like, I love watching Dante fight. You know, Namal Farmer's 5-0. One of RDR's just their time. One of the RDR promotions big, like, I'm excited to have him on. Like, the kid is just uber talented, uber talented, and we're still rounding out the card. There'll be a couple of moving parts for the most part. But I'm just at the top of the card. It's all about Di Stefano and Oluwafemi, like the Nigerian nightmare. It truly 8 rounds, junior middleweights. It's a true. Again, this is the kind of fight that should be opening up a PBC telecast, a Top Rank, and ESPN telecast, like a DAZN. Like, it should be on the homecoming card for Jaron Ennis. This is the kind of fight that, like, oh, okay, like, people pay big money to see this type of stuff.
Facts. That's June 22nd, 2300 Arena. Can't wait. Alex, thank you for joining. Oh, you said it again?
I said it's going to be a great time, and I hope to see you there.
Oh, I'll definitely be in the building. If anybody watching, let them know where to get tickets at.
At the 2300 Arena, box office online. All right, there's some tickets available there. You can contact the RMD page directly. We have a handful of tickets available also, but they are just they're flying. They're moving. I expect it's going to be just a great night of boxing. The atmosphere is crazy. I love 2300 Arena. There's something about that little box. It's just crazy.
You loved 2300 Arena before you started boxing because you're a wrestling guy.
What'd you say?
I said you loved 2300 Arena before you started boxing because you were a natural wrestling guy, right?
Well, for sure. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities between professional wrestling and professional boxing. Obviously, let's start with the truth of the matter is one's scripted and the other's not. But the entertainment atmosphere, the entertainment aspects of it, both, like the entrances, the walkout, the ambiance, all that other stuff. Like, I mean, hell, I take a lot from what WWE and AEW, a lot of these even local wrestling promotions. Like, I pay attention because promoting is promoting. It's whether it's figuring out events and getting people in. There's a fine art to that, and I tell my members all the time, the only way you get better at things is by doing it. The only way I'm going to get better at promoting is by promoting events, right? Learning, seeing how they work, and doing them over and over and over again. And next Saturday night, I get to do it again. And then the following week, we have an amateur show right here at TKO Fitness. And we'll take a little bit of time off because I have to make sure I spend tons of time with my beautiful wife and my baby boy Roman, because they're awesome.
Salute to the tribal chief.
That's right. The true head of the table. I created a legit boss. I go 40 years without being. I go almost 40 years to get to the point where I don't have a boss anymore. That I just create one, and the little tyrant dictator is telling me everything. Mama do it. Dad do it. It's a wild thing. I love it though. I love being a new dad. It's cool.
Alex, thanks for sitting down, man. I really appreciate you. I'll be in the building June 22nd.
Puerto Rico, Poppy. Make sure you enjoy yourself.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Chef.
Taking that sun.
This is hot as shit.
Hot is good. Hot is good. Enjoy it. It's gonna be hot out here too.
Thanks.
All right, bro.
All right. I'll see you June 22nd, 2300 Arena.
You got it, bro.